Hi, and welcome back to the Nurse Doula. I'm Nikki, and today's topic is one that many women face towards the end of their pregnancy, and that is, do I need an induction if I go past my due date? So it's common to feel anxious when your due date comes and goes without any signs of labor. But just because you're overdue doesn't always mean induction is necessary right away. So in this episode, we'll talk about why some women go past their due date, when induction might be recommended, and what options you have if your baby decides to take their sweet little time coming into the world. So let's get started. So let's start by discussing why some pregnancies go past their due dates and why that's not necessarily something to worry about. First, it's important to understand that a due date really is just an estimate. It's calculated based on the first day of your last menstrual period and assumes that a typical pregnancy lasts about 40 weeks. But it also assumes that everyone has a textbook 28-day cycle. And we all know that's not the case. And that's why many women naturally carry babies a little bit longer than their due date suggests. In fact, statistically, only about 5% of women actually deliver on their due date. So, why might you go past 40 weeks? Well, there's several reasons why you might go past 40 weeks, and most of them aren't cause for concern. So, first time moms often go into labor a little bit later than women who've had previous pregnancies. Their uterine muscles haven't experienced all the stretching and contraction that come with labor. Their bodies are pretty much starting from scratch. So this means that it can take a little bit longer for the uterus to respond to some of those labor hormones and trigger contractions. Family history also plays a part. So if your mother or your sisters had longer pregnancies, chances are you might be more likely to go past your due date as well. The baby's position also plays a role. So if your baby isn't in an optimal position, for instance, if they're in the posterior position, labor might take a little bit longer to start. So if you've gone past your due date and haven't experienced any signs of labor, it doesn't automatically mean something is wrong. It just means your baby needs a little bit more time to get ready. But at what point does being overdue become a concern? While it's normal for some pregnancies to go beyond 14 weeks, there are times when your healthcare provider might recommend inducing labor after your due date has passed. This is usually done to ensure both you and your baby stay healthy as you approach 41 or 42 weeks. So why do we worry about going too far past your due date? So as you get further past your due date, your placenta might not work as efficiently as it did earlier in the pregnancy. The placenta supplies your baby with oxygen and nutrients. So as it starts to age and deteriorate, these things slow down and the baby could be at risk. And additionally, the amniotic fluid levels might also decrease, which can lead to cord compression, which can result in the baby's heart rate decreasing. So why are all these things a big deal? Well, the biggest risk of staying pregnant after 42 weeks is the worst risk, and that is stillbirth. So if the placenta stops working, your baby will stop receiving nutrients and oxygen. And with little to no amniotic fluid, your baby could roll over onto its cord, and with no buffer from the fluid, the blood supply will be cut off. Also, your baby continues to grow every week that it's inside of your body, and larger babies come with their own set of complications and problems. And lastly, once the babies mature, they start to pass stool, and passing stool in the womb can lead to the baby inhaling its own stool, which is called meconium aspiration syndrome. And this can affect the baby's ability to breathe. So for this reason, for these many reasons actually, most providers will recommend induction by 41 or 42 weeks to avoid these risks. Now, that doesn't mean that your baby is guaranteed to experience these things after 41 weeks. The suggestion of an induction is to hopefully avoid these things before they happen. And now I know what people are going to say, that these risks are small and that a lot of doulas will encourage you to listen to your body and let it go into labor when it's ready. But when it comes to stillbirth, I personally don't believe in taking any chances. I know we all know someone who knows someone who knows someone who had a perfectly healthy baby at 43 plus weeks. And that is rare, and that's why people talk about it. What nobody talks about is the 43-week stillborn babies. And there are just as many of those as there are live 43-week babies. If we did talk about it more often, you would see that it is, in fact, a real risk. And I wouldn't want to take any chance and be the mom whose baby didn't make it to 43 weeks. That is just such a dangerous game to play. Ultimately, the decision to induce depends on a combination of factors, including your baby's condition, your health and how far past your due date you are. So, for some women, the uncertainty of waiting for labor to start naturally can cause a lot of stress. Induction offers a clear plan for when labor will begin, which can offer peace of mind for some women. I mean, personally, I just wouldn't want to be pregnant that long. I started to lose my mind around 36 weeks, but fortunately, I delivered all of my babies around like 30, 39 weeks. I'm pretty sure by 41 weeks, I will be certifiably insane. So, while induction comes with risks, the decision to induce is usually made with the goal of balancing the risk versus the potential complications of going too far past your due date. So, even if you've gone past your due date, induction isn't always the only option. If you and your baby are both healthy, your provider may offer alternatives to immediate induction, allowing you some more time for labor to start on its own. So, here are some common alternatives. If you and your baby are doing well, your provider may recommend expectant management, which involves waiting a little bit longer for labor to start on its own while carefully monitoring the baby's health. This involves weekly non stress tests to monitor the baby's heart rate, biophysical profiles to assess the baby's well being, regular checks of amniotic fluid, and as long as these tests show that the baby is healthy, it may be safe to wait a little bit longer before considering an induction. Another option to help jumpstart labor naturally is a procedure called membrane sweeping, which a provider can do during a vaginal exam. So, membrane sweeping involves gently separating the amniotic sac from the cervix, which can help release prostaglandins. And those are the hormones that help soften the cervix and trigger labor. It's not always effective, but membrane sweeping can sometimes help labor start without the need for more aggressive interventions. If you're hoping to avoid medical induction, you may want to try natural labor induction methods like eating dates, walking, or using a birthing ball to help the baby move down into the pelvis. Now, I say natural induction methods, but these things don't actually start labor. They can help your body to kind of prepare for delivery and put the necessary steps in motion for labor to start on its own. So don't expect miracles with these things. Remember to always consult your healthcare provider before trying any natural methods, especially if you've passed your due date. And for the love of God, put the castor oil down. To wrap things up, going past your due date doesn't automatically mean you need an induction. Many pregnancies naturally go to 42 weeks. And as long as you and your baby are healthy, it's often safe to wait until labor starts on its own. However, the risks associated with being overdue increase. An induction may be the safest option to ensure a safe delivery for both you and your baby. The key is to have open communication with your healthcare provider and make a plan that works in with your unique situation. So thanks for joining me again on the Nurse Doula. I hope this episode helped you to understand the factors that go into the decision to induce you after your due date and give you the information you need to feel confident in your choices. If you have any question or need any more tips, feel free to reach out. I'm always here to help. And until next time, take care.